I'm going to break down the exact 3-step strategy that has made me over $100,000 and allowed me to become a full-time trader. Now, I've been trading 6 years and I have never come across a strategy that is so simple, so easy, and works extremely well. I have tried everything from penny stocks to options, futures, supply demand, ICT, you name it. And this 3-step strategy beats all of them by a mile. And in this video, I'm going to break down the entire thing for you. Make sure you stick until the end of this video, because if you do, I'm going to hand you a course that I made completely free and you have lifetime access to that. So let's strap in, get your notepad ready, let's get into the video. Okay, so we hopped into the chart. I'm going to break down the entire strategy for you. Now, the strategy is actually called balance theory. Okay, there's other variations called auction market theory, other ways to think about it, but the simple term is balance theory. And so what I want to do is start with step 1 of the strategy. Okay, and step 1 is simply going to be identify a balance zone. Okay, identify a balance zone. So what actually is a balance zone? Well, price can only move in 2 different phases. Okay, price is either going to be in a phase where it's going straight up or straight down, or it's going to be in a phase of consolidation where we're kind of in this back and forth move here. Okay, this back and forth move is what we call balance. Okay, that means price is fair, right? There's an equal amount of buyers and sellers in this area. Okay, and so when you see that price forms a very clear resistance line and a very clear support line, that's how you know that price is in balance, okay, as opposed to something that looks like this, right? So if I go ahead and look at the chart, you can pretty much see, in this area, if I zoom out from right here to right here, we were pretty much going straight up, right? We were not in balance, we were in expansion, okay? And you can see in this area, we're in a lot more consolidative phase, very up, very down, very back and forth. This is what we call balance, okay? And this is where the strategy actually takes place. Okay, this is where all the money is made. Okay, if you know what you're doing. So step 1 is identify a balance and draw your zones. So you can see here that we have a pretty clear support level right here, and we have a pretty clear resistance line pretty much right around here. Okay, I'm just going to draw it here. Now if we zoom in, you can see, well, we do have this resistance up here, right? We have this support down here, but the very clear balance, you can see you have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches down at the support level. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, 6 touches up at this resistance level, okay? So I'm going to draw this as my balance area. Now, what I like to do is I like to draw this area as a zone, just so it makes it really simple to see, and we know exactly what's going on, okay? So we're just going to look at this price action. Now, obviously, we can't draw this zone when price is right here because none of the price action has happened. So once you see about 2 to 3 touches on each side of a very clear resistance and very clear support forming, that's when you know that you have a balance zone. Okay, that's a good balance zone that you can trade. So really, we don't know that this is a balance zone up until around, we'll call it this area. So Monday, 11:27, this is kind of when we know that we are in a balance zone. So now we can go on to step 2, which is waiting for the stop hunt, okay? So step 1 is identifying the balance. Step 2 is now identifying the stop hunt. So what does the stop hunt actually mean? Well, price, like I said, is always going to be in a range, right? And in this range, we're going to be having, equal highs and equal lows, right? We're going to go into the top, to the bottom, top to the bottom. Now, what this strategy works and how it makes sense is that you want to wait for price to actually break out of one side of that balance, okay? It doesn't matter if it's at the top. It doesn't matter if it's at the bottom. You simply want to see price break out of one of those sides, okay? Now, here's where things get really important. You need to listen up here. You actually are not trading the breakout as you probably would think. Okay, we're not here trading breakouts. What we're doing is we're actually waiting for a stop hunt, which means price comes down, we break out of here, and then we end up coming back inside. Okay, it's a little bit into step 3, but for step 2, all you need to know is that price is going to fail to break out of the zone and then just have no momentum. And what I mean by that, instead of price breaking down and keep going lower and lower, we kind of just come down and we don't really move anywhere. We either consolidate or we end up coming back the other way. That is a stop hunt, okay? That is how you trade this move. So if we take a look here in SPX, you can see the stop hunt, or step 2, occurs right here, right? We get a gap down, price comes right below, and you would expect, well, if you think about it, we have a lot of people who are buying in this area, a lot of people who are selling in this area. So everybody who bought in this balance zone at this point in time should be selling, right? It broke support, they're all selling and selling and selling. And you also have shorts who are in here who are now adding on to the shorts because they're expecting price to break down. It's very common in stocks. But what happens is that we actually don't break down. right? Price just kind of stays here. It doesn't really do anything. And when you see that, that shouldn't be happening, right? If we think about it, like I said, a lot of retail is long here. And when they get stopped out, a lot of them should be selling and driving price lower. But if price is not driving lower, that means institutions are loading up long here, okay? They are the ones buying the stop losses of the retail who bought in this area here, okay? That is how the strategy works, okay? It's just institutions versus retail. When price fails to break down, okay, and we see that buyers are stepping in to start to turn price the other way, as price starts to come up, that's when you know that this balance theory trade setup is going to occur. There's a very good chance that price is going to end up moving higher, okay? So that is step 2. Really simple. You simply wait for price to be in a balance, break out of that balance, but not break out, okay? Just have a quick stop on it, whether it's a quick move below or a quick move above, and then it doesn't actually break out. It fails to continue pushing in that direction. It either consolidates or comes back in the other direction and reverses, okay? So that is going to be step 2 of the strategy. Really, really simple. Now, step 3 of the strategy kind of comes together with how the strategy actually works and how balance theory and how markets move, okay? So let's think about it again. Let's say we have our balance zone and it looks like this, okay? Very clear resistance, very clear support, okay? We can go ahead and draw a zone that looks like this. Now, the way balance theory works is when price fails to break out, so we get step 1, we have step 2, we fail to break out, we fail to move lower, institutions are buying in. Step 3 is going to be when price comes back into this balance zone, there is a very good chance that price is going to rotate to the other side of balance, okay? So think about this. This is a balance zone, right? We have our support, we have our resistance, right? Now, everybody who got long here, they get stopped out, institutions buy here, and when price comes back inside that balance, so we get back above that support, that's when we know that price can rotate to the other side of resistance, okay? Because you need to think of price like this, right? If price is in a consolidative state, we're in a very choppy market, very up and down market, okay? Price just likes to ping pong back and forth and do whatever it does. It's very choppy, it's very back and forth. There's a million things that it can do, okay? So when price comes back into that balance zone and we accept back into it, it's going to ping pong back and forth until we find the other side, okay? That's all it's doing. Price is always going to be in an auction, okay? And when price fails to find sellers down here, and then we end up coming back inside, it's going to rotate all the way up to the other side where it's met with more sellers. Okay, that's because that's where the sellers are. You can see the sellers are all the way up here. So it's the same exact setup as an auction. So think of it like this, okay? This is a beautiful setup. I'm going to show you more examples. But for now, take a look at this. Right? SPX is in a range. We have a high, low, high, low, high, low. Price breaks out, okay? Everybody gets stopped out. Institutions load in. When price gets back inside of this balance zone, we end up ripping right to the other side, okay? And that's it. That is the trade right there, okay? So you wait for price to break out, come back inside. Once it gets back inside, that's when you get long. You put your stop loss right below the low. So I'd get long right here, put my stop loss right below the low, and then my target would be the other side of balance or the resistance. This would be a nice 2R trade. Really simple setup, really easy, and works all the time because that's how price moves, okay? It goes from one side to the other side, always up and down, all right? And if you know what you're trading, if you know what you're doing, you can understand that. Think about it logically, right? Institutions are loading up here. If they weren't loading up, price would have dumped because you have a mass of people who are buying here, right? 3 days worth of people who are buying, and now they get stopped out, and you expect a bunch of selling. But if that selling doesn't happen, it means something else is going on, and it means these institutions are loading up. And when that happens, that's when you know price is going to skyrocket. So let me go ahead and show you another example, okay? Let me zoom out and show you another example of this. Same thing here. Take a look at SPX. And by the way, this strategy works on all time frames, works on all stocks. You're going to find it working everywhere. So take a look at this, okay? Price comes down. What do? We have a very clear resistance level right here. We have a high, we have a high, right? We come down, we have nice little support here, nice little support here, and we come down, nice little support here. Now, support and resistance is never black and white, okay? It's never usually a perfect, clear level. So a lot of times you can kind of draw these as zones, right? So we can kind of make it a zone like this, right? We can make it a zone that looks like this if we count in, this high here and this high here. But ultimately, the idea is that you're waiting for price to form a very clear balance. Okay, and right here we do that, where we have our support, we have our resistance. And so what ends up happening? Well, price right here, we break out. Okay, so again, price, we have a move up. Okay, this is how price moves, right? Price moves up, we have a consolidative leg, and then we expect a breakout. And so what happens when price fails to break out, right? You have a lot of people who are long, a lot of people who are buying this breakout right here, right when price gets above this high. You have a lot of shorts who are currently short in this area, and now they have to stop out. They're getting stopped out, so they have to cover, and they need to buy in order to cover their shares. So that's going to drive price higher. So we have a lot of buying and covering going on that is supposed to drive price higher. But if price is not moving higher, if price just peaks out of this balance a little bit, and then we end up coming right back inside, what does that mean? Well, it means that something is happening that shouldn't be happening, right? We should be breaking out. We should be, ripping the new highs, but we're not. And when that happens, that's how you know institutions are getting short in this area. And so what do? What is the strategy? Step 1, right? We identify balance, okay? So this is going to be our balance zone here. Step 2, we wait for the stop hunt. Right here, step 2, okay? We get the nice stop hunt just like this. Step 3 is going to be waiting for price to come back inside of that balance zone, which would be right here on this candle. We come back inside, and then we would get short targeting down here, right? So we would look to get in short when price comes back inside, put our stop above the high, and then target the other side of balance, which would be a nice 2.5-hour trade, okay? Really simple setup, okay? Step 1, find the balance. Step 2, wait for the stop hunt. Step 3, play the rotation to the other side, because price is going to find its way down to the other side. It may take a few days, may take a few hours, depending on the time frame you're looking at, but it's going to make its way to the other side. And the reason why I love it is because it sets up such a good risk reward, right? If you get in here, you have a very tight stop. If you're wrong, price just goes the other way, and then it ends up breaking out. And if you're right, price goes down to the other side of balance, and it can even keep going down more than that. This example was a beautiful one right here. Price ended up going down a lot more, ended up being over a 7-hour trade. So there's a lot of opportunity with this exact strategy. Now, there's one other thing that I want you guys to really understand when it comes to this strategy. It's really, really important, because if you don't have this, it's going to be very tough for you to actually trade it successfully, okay? This one tip is simply going to be waiting for price to go ahead and break structure of that high. Okay, so let me zoom in on a 15-minute chart and show you what I'm talking about here. So if we take a look at this, this is where you can combine other strategies into balance theory itself, right? So right here, price, we get the stop hunt. Okay, we're in balance, we get the stop hunt, and then price comes inside. So one thing you can do is obviously you can short right when price comes back inside, right? But price is never perfect, right? And you're going to have a few losses where price kind of dips inside and then end up going the other way. That's very common. So how do we avoid that? How do we increase our win percentage to make sure we're getting a very good strategy with really good metrics? And here's what you want to do. When price is moving up, in this case, when we're going up out of balance, we typically will form a demand zone or some type of trend on the way up, okay? And trend is defined as higher highs and higher lows. That's an uptrend, and lower lows and lower highs would be a downtrend, right? So how do we use that to our advantage? How do we add that into balance theory to actually make this a much better strategy? Here's a one tip you can do, okay? When price comes up, if we look, we can see that price actually has a demand zone right here. Now, if you don't know about supply and demand, don't worry. My YouTube channel has a bunch of other videos about it. Feel free to check that out after this video. But for now, we have a demand zone here, okay? We have a rally, we have a base, and we have another rally. And so what you can see is that price ends up breaking through that demand after we get the stop hunt. And that right there is our confirmation that price is going to end up moving lower, okay? So think about it like this. If we have a balance zone, price is moving up, we're forming higher highs and higher lows into demand, just like this, and we stop hunt the highs, and we end up coming back down. If we hold this demand, or if we fail to break below this low right here, trend is still up. So there's really nothing stopping price from simply bouncing off this and moving higher, right? So what you want to do, another thing you can add to the strategy that's going to increase it a ton, is waiting for price to break below that demand or below that low, okay? When you see that happen, now you know for sure that sellers are in control, okay? Sellers are in control. When you see that, that gives you the extra confidence boost that, hey, at this point right here, we broke that demand. And that told me that sellers are now in control. So what I can do is wait for a small pullback, right? Get short, set my stop right back above that high, target the low, and still end up with about a 1.5 risk reward trade, which is a trade I would take any time of the day. Okay, really simple setup, and it works extremely well. So if you can understand trend and combine it with this balance theory move, you can make a lot more money and have a lot less losses. Nonetheless, this setup is still going to work simply looking at price action, right? Doesn't use any indicators. You don't need to look at RSI, MACD, bull flags, bear flags, none of that. Okay, you simply just look at price. You don't even need volume. All you do is use it with trend, follow the 3 steps. Step 1, wait for balance to form. Step 2, wait for the stop hunt. Step 3, wait for price to come back inside, and then take the rotation down to the other side. It works extremely well, and this strategy alone has allowed me to become a full-time trader simply doing this. Now, if you stuck until the end with me, it means you're a real one. I love you, and what I want to do for you is give you a free course, okay? And all you have to do to get that is click the link in the description, okay? What I've done is I've made a free training video for you, and to watch that, you have to put in your name and your email. And once I have your email, I'm going to send you a free supply demand course, okay? So you can learn how to combine supply demand with balance theory to get a much better risk reward and win percentage, okay? And feel free to watch the training below as well, because that training does help tons of other people become full-time, and it's also going to tell you how you can become a full-time trader and what actually matters when you want to become a full-time trader. So go ahead, watch that free training below, put in your email, and I'm going to send you a free course within the next day of you doing that. So hope you guys enjoyed. Click the link below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.